Hello from Committed Parenting. So I'm Sarah. Helen is not able to join us today, or well, she is available. We just are having our technical difficulties in getting both of us here on Facebook Live. So I am here to come into the conversation today. So today, one of the things I really wanted to talk about that I'm really present to right now with what some people are dealing with this pandemic is teenagers and young adults. I actually just talked to my 18-year-old son, and he's actually staying over at his dad's. He's going to be coming here soon, and it's a blended family. So the medical professionals have recommended kind of like a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off kind of situation for blended families for their safety and health and well-being. And it's interesting talking with him, and he's dealing with things and it's fine. Everything's fine. But what is actually mostly on his mind is actually his concerns for his friends. He's really concerned, like and it's like, I feel for him. Like, here he is, he's 18, turning 19. And, he's at a stage in his life where he had just gotten a really great job. He was so excited about the job that he got. It was forwarding like his professional career path and looking at going into being a chef. And he was starting to get a few hours. It takes a bit to build the seniority to get hours, and he was really in the stage of life where, like, he had a future he was living into. There was going to be a full-time job that was leading to a future that had benefits, that had all these great things, that had great friends to be working with, and now it's like that future, the whole place is in the hospitality industry, is just shut right down. And he is at home living, at his dad's and then sometimes at my house. And now what? Like, he was looking forward to getting his own apartment. He was looking forward to start this like life for himself and live kind of by his design. And he's at that stage in life that's really appropriate to be in those spaces. And now all of a sudden, like, there's this, upset, disappointment. There's this disappointment that his future now looks really different and on hold, and a lot of question around what that's going to look like. So he himself is dealing with, not really feeling like he's in his own place. He's living under kind of parents and their rules, which he's super respectful, and he'll do what he needs to do with that. Not all kids are, though, or not all kids are in great parent and sibling child dynamics that, I just really feel for those 18-year-olds, those 19-year-olds, those teenagers, those young adults that are out there, that their life looks so different right now. And the social base and their friends and that outer life and that living into that future life is it's so important in their development right now. Like, it's actually so crucial in their identity and development and how they're creating their future and what they're living into, that there is quite an impact. And there's actually quite an emotional mental health impact. And, talking with my son, he's coping, and he has some, really great healthy structures in place that's helping him cope. And he's really getting to the point of pent-upness. But the thing that's actually disturbing him the most, or upsetting him the most, is there are some of his friends that aren't coping, and they're not coping well. And that's really on his mind, because he's looking like, how can he be a friend and support his friends right now? How can he be there? One friend has now left living at home because it just wasn't working, and is now kind of living on his own, but that doesn't work either. So there's just like this tentativeness, and he can't really get a job. And he has another friend that, it's not working with his parents either. And like, it's just what I heard in that conversation. I guess the reason I want to bring that to this conversation here is we all have our kids, and they're all at different phases and stages, and, they all have their own array of things that they're dealing with in this time, their own limitations or their own impacts, their own stuff that they're dealing with. And I'm just so present of the opportunity for us to pause and get related with our children and ask them, getting curious and just asking the questions, not to fix it, not to even provide solutions, but just to give them the space to talk about it. Like the conversation I had with Xander today, it didn't have a lot of solutions in it. It didn't have any fixing in it. It didn't have anything like that. But what it did have was a space for him to communicate what he's dealing with, which he hasn't gotten a chance to really say it. It's been kind of in the background, bothering him, upsetting him, and he couldn't quite put his finger on it. and having a space in the conversation where he got to just voice what was bothering him or what was right there for him, and me even asking about his friends, how is his friends doing, it got him actually seeing how agitated and worried and concerned he actually was. And sometimes I find as a parent, sometimes I won't ask all the questions because I kind of know things aren't that great and I don't want to like make it worse by asking. And I'm just present to the disservice that is. And so I invite all the parents that are here, all the people that do watch this video, check in with your kids. How are they? Is there anything that's concerning them? How are their friends doing? And create even a partnership, like just even having a conversation with Xander today of just saying, hey, like, if you do want to talk about anything about your friends, if you do want some support or looking at like what you would like to create or support or how to look at that, you're not alone. You can talk to me, you can talk to your dad, you can talk to other people. And like, we're here to support you in what you're out to fulfill on. And so having those conversations with our children of just giving them the space that they can say anything that's there, anything that's important for them to say, anything that's bothering them, and then also to let them know that they're not alone and we're here with them. Like, it really makes a difference. It's something that I forget the difference that it can make. So that's what I'm inviting everyone to take on today with Helen not being here. We're not having the lengthy conversation of a call, but one thing I do want to leave everybody with is, check in with your friends. Or check in with your children, but check in with your friends too. Check in with your friends, check in with your children. And just as an opportunity to just, hey, hi, what is there? What's that like? What do you need to say about it? Wow. Yeah, that is something. And especially check in with those teenagers, with those young adults. How are you doing? What? And the other thing that the opportunity that's right there for us too is, I was actually laughing when Helen and I came on to do this call today. She was sitting in her bedroom because there was a house full of people, and I'm sitting in my bedroom. And I realized too, the other thing that I notice I'm naturally doing, and I think a lot of households are already doing, but the importance, especially with teenagers around, is giving everybody some kind of space that they have for themselves. Some kind of carved out space. And for some families in some houses, it's not possible. For others, it's really easy. Everybody has their own room and everybody has their own space. But for, smaller houses or larger families or those components, everybody might not have their own space. How can everybody have their own space? What do people need in their spaces? Do some people want quiet? Do some people want music? Like finding ways of and bringing open the conversation of what can work here for you, and having those conversations with your children. How would they love to create their space? What do they need in their space? What are they dealing with? How are they coping? What's working for them? And what are some of their concerns that they have, and giving them space to voice their concerns. So that's what I will leave you in with today is conversations. Go out and have conversations with your children and be there with them and let them say everything. Ask questions. Ask very specific questions. Like, who their friends are. How is that friend doing? How are you doing? How is this impacting you? What's working? What kind of things are you loving that's actually making this whole situation work? And what are things that you're hating that you're really not liking this situation? How are you limited? How now do you have more stuff available? And just giving them an opportunity to get present and share for themselves. Okay, so that's our today. We again will be online live 12:30 p.m. Pacific, Monday to Friday next week. Helen and I will be there live to have Families Thrive conversations. So long.